For the 2025 model year, Mazda came out with another all-new SUV, and this is going to be the CX-70. So this is going to be a little bit different than the CX-90. Now, I personally shopped around for this vehicle. This was my top choice, but my household couldn't all come on the same conclusion because this isn't going to be the vehicle that I drive. It's not my daily driver, it's the wife's. But this is going to be slightly different from the CX-90. So from the front, you're going to notice that it doesn't have all the chrome that the CX-90 does. A lot of blacked out things. In my opinion, it's like the sport version of the CX-90. And it doesn't have the chrome rail bars up top. And the CX-90 also has the chrome piece down here. But there's another couple of differences, and I'll get to that in just a moment here. But this example is going to go for $53,825. And this is going to be the CX-70 S Premium trim, not the Premium Plus, which is the top of the line. This is the slot below. Press cars normally come fully loaded, but this is going to be the volume seller most buyers would shop for if they want the power. This is the S trim. The S is going to stand for shit. This ain't as slow as the base level, so this is going to be the one with the hybrid powertrain and the inline 6, 3.3 liter inline 6 hybridized. It's going to have 340 horsepower, 369 the torque. And the EPA is rating at 23 cities, 28 highway. I've been averaging a modest 24 miles per gallon. Let's take a peek at the engine. Bunch of plastic. Let's play swords of revealing light. So there's the heart of the beast right there, inline 6. It's also going to be mated to an 8-speed automatic transmission, all-wheel drive as well. Looking for the orange cabling that we normally lets us know it's a hybrid, but this is a very mild hybrid. I think it's more so for power. In the front fascia compared to the CX-90, most of this trim is going to be blacked out. Like this on the CX-90 would be chromed out. Some of these other trims on here as well. We do have fake vents here, but it does slide over there to where we can cool down the brakes. I think this is a very handsomely designed vehicle. Part of the reason why I wanted one, and this large too, reminds me of an X5. So it isn't as powerful as an M5, but the silhouette and everything just reminds me of an X5 from BMW. 21-inch wheels coming on to the side. We do have inline 6. I told you, but you ain't believe me. I think y'all starting to warm up to me now. Very large doors, very spacious. Like I said, the back part really reminds me of a first-gen BMW X5. Coming on to the rear hatch. Let's check out the practicality of it. Feel alive. We have a ton of space back here. This is going to be the main difference between the CX-70 and CX-90. Not sure why they didn't just condense it into one model and you can just add the third row as an option. But they still kept the cup holders for the third row of the CX-90 and the CX-70. They look identical. Like, I can't tell them apart really, except for the minor things. Up under here we have tools. What's up under there? Storage for other miscellaneous items. So no spare up under there. We can fold our seats from back here with the touch of a button. We do have cargo area cover made out of some kind of vinyl. Coming on around to the back seat. I got it set up when I walk away from the vehicle, the door's locked, so every time I step away, it locks. So I got to unlock it, then come back to the back door to open it. Very large back here, but let me fold the seats up. Power comes down, but not go up. And I hopped in through the passenger side, but I got 3 inches of space in front of my knees, sitting behind myself. Super spacious back here. We do have heated seats in the rear as well. Panel sunroof to let all the bright sunlight in. 3 to 4 inches of headroom. The seat back some. I am too far. Oh, we recline like the front seat almost. So we can lay all the way back in the rear seats. Cup holders in the middle seat. Middle seat position. It's kind of narrow. Small person in the middle. And we're also going to have privacy shades. We have cup holders in the door as well. The front seat. We're going to notice that we do have red Napa leather, and that's what you're going to get on this premium trim. You can get black Napa leather as well. Mazda did an outstanding job at applying these materials. Premium materials in here, everything soft touch. Even got soft touch leather on the side where you would rest your knee at. I always think that's an excellent idea because when you're on the road trips, cruise control is on, your knee is going to rest right there. So that's a touch point. All these touch points are plush. I cannot stand these side opening armrest right here. Felt at the bottom, 2 USB-C ports. All physical HVAC controls. Mazda has their smallish, this is larger, like 12 inches display used by this multifunction controller down here, which is seamless to use. They don't really like you touching the screen, and I personally like to use this controller down here, unless I'm skipping tracks, what I do a lot. But gear selector, drive modes, camera, has 360 camera in here, which is excellent. It shows you, most manufacturers will mesh it all together in one view, but this will separate the cameras in this view right here. Cover for the cup holder, you look closely, graded design. Mazda was kind enough to have an accessibility feature where you can increase the size of the text, because I don't want to be reaching for my reading glasses to see how fast I'm going. And that also doubles as a different display where you can see the vehicle. But if you need reading glasses but don't want to drive with them, you can increase the font size in the steering, in the cluster. We got this other Mazda pulling up on us. Hey, buddy. This panoramic sunroof does not open really wide when you crack it. That's it. I do not even notice any airflow in there. So when you want a little bit more air, I'm used to it cracking like, stop it. So when you want a little bit of airflow, that's not going to do enough. But for my liking, I like it cracked to where you can actually see the sky up in there. And that's going to let in a lot more wind noise being this open. And it opens all the way as well. Something that I don't like is when you turn off the lane keep assist system in the cluster, this telltale will just be there, and it makes it seem like something's wrong. We already got the buckle up and park brake, but this telltale, along with another one of these safety features, if you disable both of them, it'll be 2 telltales just staring at you all the time, and it makes it seem like something's wrong. I just wish they didn't display that there. Maybe come up and then disappear, but it's always there. Another thing I don't like is the wireless charger. My phone, it just gets hot and doesn't charge. That's all I'm gonna say about that. About 8 hours later, back in the CX-70, had some technical difficulties. Already buckled up, good to go. Good stopping power, just like we playing Call of Duty. And now, since our moon simulation is definitely a moon simulator right now, it's under construction. About to see what it's like, how it soaks up the bumps. And these are extreme potholes and craters. Goodness gracious. Gotta be careful on the street like this with 21s on it. Here's some extra noise. I wonder, is it this privacy shade rattling around? Alright, now we're going to check the turning radius. I like to turn on the camera to see how close we are, because I don't want to scrape these 21-inch wheels. So pull up, cut it all the way. Ooh. Not the greatest, but it's really good. Really, really good. So let me pull on up out of here so we can get ready to do our from a dig, see what that sport mode is like. It's going to turn everything to red and aggressive on the cluster. Pull on out here, and like my granddad used to say, I just stomp it. Boy, wailing. So got some good get up. This is a heavy vehicle, and while we're in sport mode, it's going to hold the revs up high, dial it back to normal mode. So I'm pretty sure that's going to drain our MPGs. This thing got paddle shifters? Yeah, it does. See what these paddle shifters be like. Can I do a manual mode? No, it doesn't shift over to the left for manual. Not the fastest to shift. Whoa. Pretty quick to slow down though. They ain't getting away from me. So as I was saying, it soaks up pretty well. Smooth ride. Rather quiet in here as well. Not hearing those rattles. So with the privacy shades in the rear up, I was hearing some of those rattles and clickety clanks. About to see what it's like, the steering feel. I want to talk about that in just a moment. But first, I'd like to talk about this dag blasted iStop. So this is going to be like automatic start stop, where it's going to turn off the engine when it doesn't need to be on. I really don't like that system. Like say if I let off the brake. So now it's an iStart stop. So the gas engine is off. And when I needed to go back to the engine to turn on, it is not the most seamless application that I have seen. And I just don't truly love the feel of it. And this even at higher speeds too. I'll demonstrate in a little bit. While I'm in a standstill, iStop is on. You can actually disable it if you just press this button over here. So you can force the engine to turn back on, but by default, it is going to be on to help you with fuel consumption. And is my phone charging? No, it's not. Oh, worry about that later on. Go back up to sport mode. It will hold the revs up. Let me just drop some gears and do this in second gear. I was gonna upshift for me. Boo. Now the steering on here, I like it a lot. It is very heavy. And sometimes at lower speeds it's heavy too, because all steering is electronic nowadays. I drove an X5M recently from 2010, and that vehicle had heavy steering, but I like heavy steering. This is reminiscent of that. It might turn off a couple customers because most cars these days are light and they have no steering feel. This has very nice amounts of steering feel. Somebody's calling me. My Bluetooth was not turning on like I needed it to earlier. Can I get this thing to hold in second gear? Dang, that was a real shit. They are going down the wrong way. Holding steady at 4,000. Does it roll around a lot? I mean, this SUV is gonna roll. It's not the most taut suspension, but it's gonna let you know that this is a driver's SUV. Steering feel is gonna be the best in this class. Probably the best of all SUVs, don't matter the class. Mazda does a really great job at fine-tuning the steering, especially for 2024, 2025. This has better steering feel than my Miata. I wish my Miata could steer and had this kind of feel. For some reason, CarPlay isn't connecting. It recognizes it as Bluetooth. Wouldn't recognize my phone at all for a moment. Well, I'm gonna just not worry about that for now. See, I just felt an instance of that iStop where it just kind of, the engine was about to shut off, but I was applying gas, and it just kind of shut off. It's like a little hesitant stutter, even at higher speeds. Doing like 40 right now. I let my foot off the accelerator. Will it turn off? The engine just turned off. I add a little bit of throttle. It's more throttle than I would personally like to add. For me personally, I would expect to, when I put any amount of throttle input on the accelerator, that it would just turn the engine back on. So it does that quite often, and I don't like it. And it's not so smooth that you don't recognize it. This is a very stout powertrain though. Got the power to pass. Super smooth, torquey. Like that a whole lot. I'm very impressed with the fuel economy that I have been getting on here. It definitely surpassed what I thought it would get because even the CX-90 or CX-50 turbo that I did have, that only averaged about 22. And this is a much larger car. It's got more displacement, a lot more horsepower, and it is hybridized, but it's averaging 24, which is amazing to me. So, who am I right? It said somebody was in my blind spot on the right side. Ain't nobody over there. So I'm going to test the cruise control. Whoops, turned it off. Let me set it. And I want it to hold a line for me. Press this button down here. Once you see it green, it's going to hold the line for you. And you're going to want to, you're going to have your hand on the steering wheel. This isn't one of those where you can just set it and forget it. Recline your seat and take a nap. Nope. You got to be focused. So let's see how adaptive cruise control is. They got to get behind me. Sorry, folks. So now it's slowing down. It eases off the accelerator. I like that a lot. The engine turned off. Let's see what it's like when the engine needs to turn back on. I'm going to get over. You can feel when the engine kicks on. Other than that, it was a pretty good job at holding the line. I had no big complaints with it. Sometimes it did get a little bit out the line, but if you play with enough of these systems enough, they'll pretty much all do it. Will it get over for me? No, I have to do that myself. There's nothing in my blind spot. What is it seeing? Maybe something's blocking the sensor or camera on this car. Nothing's on my right side. Keeps tricking me. Getting on off the highway. See how it handles this roundabout. It's definitely got some roll to it. Feel it a lot more at higher speeds. Confidence inspiring though. Steering feel is on point. Got the power to get up out our own way. So who would this CX-70 be for? Let me switch it back to normal mode. The CX-70 would be for somebody who just wants more space in a family SUV. I don't know why you would get this over the CX-90. I guess if you don't need the third row, but I would always like to personally have the third row and just use it in case I needed it. But this isn't the case here. But it's very attractive styling, fuel efficient for the size of the vehicle. Got all the nice features. Let me turn my ventilated seats on. It'll warm up. Oh, here, I took my coat off. Check out the link in the description to purchase a hoodie. I know it's probably already like 80 degrees where you at, but the weather's still trying to break here in Michigan. But this, like I said, I was in the market for this family of 4. So this would be the perfect vehicle for me. And they do offer a plug-in hybrid. That one was going to be my choice. That one comes with the 4-cylinder engine as opposed to an inline 6. But it is plug-in, making things a lot more fuel efficient. That's the one that I truly want to test out. But I think this is a great purchase. Stand the test of time. Powertrain's excellent. Efficiency, excellent. Styling, superb. It's got a lot of things right. And what else would this compete with? Maybe like a Honda Pilot. Got 3 rows. They're like the same size as the Pilot. It's more of a CX-90, but like I said, they're the same vehicle to me. And what does Toyota have? The Highlander or Grand Highlander. So those types of vehicles. What does Ford have? Maybe an Edge. So they killed that off too. Explorer. An Explorer with the seats folded. That's what I'm trying to get at. So that's all I'm gonna have to say about that 2025 CX-70. Superb vehicle. It's kind of weird that it doesn't have a third row, but other than that, it's excellent. Minus the few things I said about the iStop, which with the press of a button, you can turn it off. That takes all of that away. So you all remember to drive safe. Okay, thanks, bye.